Stuck in the middle with you.
Cause I'm
Stuck in the middle with you.
Every time I hear that song, I think of a nigga getting tortured.
Where do you get that from?
That's the first thing I think of. Reservoir Dogs.
I haven't seen that movie in a long time. I don't remember
That's the
that
song
part.
that plays while he tortures a guy, like literally tortures him.
They play that song?
That's
Jeez.
and he's dancing around.
Way to
and
go,
he's like,
Tarantino.
stuck in them, and he's doing like this shit, and then he's like walking up on the guy and like cutting his ear off, and like doing this stuff, and the guy's like freaking the fuck out.
Remind me, which guy is it?
The scary guy in that movie.
What color is he?
Mr. Blue, I want to say.
Oh, okay.
Maybe, or Mr. Brown.
Oh, you mean the one that Abby plays when we did our version of the sketch?
No, the crazy one. Like if you've seen the movie, there's only one guy in the movie who's like absolutely
I watched it like
lost his mind.
maybe like 15 years ago.
You went when you were
No, that's not true. It's
30.
like 12 years ago, like my freshman year of college.
Okay, that makes more sense. You're old.
All right. You've just offended most of our listeners.
No, you're older than them.
That's not true.
Sam,
I've
you're
seen
like
their
37.
pictures. I've seen their pictures, and hey, if I am older than them, y'all got a problem.
No, some of the girls are young and hot. We've seen
Oh,
them.
well, the girls, but it's like for the dudes, if they are younger than me, y'all better start eating more vegetables.
So Sam's saying the bean girls are beautiful and the bean men are hideous. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm just saying they're probably all 30.
I think some of the bean girls are 30.
I think so too.
I think a lot of them just, take care of themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Probably stay-at-home mom shit. I'm sure we have some stay-at-home mom listening.
I don't know if that necessarily means they take care of themselves
I
more
think-
because they're stay-at-home
When
moms.
I think of a stay-at-home mom, I think of a hot bod.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
When I think of stay-at-home moms, I think of what's her face from Everybody, Deborah.
Deborah's hot.
Deborah is hot, but Deborah looks tired.
Yeah.
Like if you're a stay-at-home mom, I'm assuming you look tired all the time.
Depends. I'm thinking of a stay-at-home mom who also has like babysitters full-time and stuff.
Oh, you mean
Like
like your NFL friends?
Yeah. Do you see how those moms look?
Yeah,
They don't look as tired. As
No, they
Deborah.
don't look as tired as Deborah.
I'm not saying that they don't look tired. They look
I'm not,
tired.
I'm not
They
saying
look
they
tired.
aren't tired
And they
either.
are-
I'm
I
just
swear to
saying
see, they're
maybe
tired.
they have the money to look less tired even.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying they can still be fine as hell. But those women are doing it right.
That's
a
right.
nanny.
Hey, yeah, get a nanny, stay-at-home moms. I don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, why would you do it all by yourself? That seems stupid. You can go to work if you pay somebody else to do it. I just
That's
don't
the whole
understand.
point. That's why they stay at home.
Oh, because they
So-
don't want to work?
No.
So they're lazy?
Hey, a stay-at-home mom is a full-time job. There's a placard upstairs in my stepmom's bathroom that explains how much work.
That explains that they're a doctor, they're a best friend, they're a lawyer,
They're a counselor.
they're a epidemiologist. They're like it's a whole list of like all the things that a mom might have to do in a day. It's like I'm a baseball coach, I'm a fucking track coach,
And then what am
I'm
I?
a plumber.
A stay-at-home mom.
And then and then it's like you tie all that together, and what do you get? It's like what? I think a Renaissance man. Is what
I
you
am
get.
impressed. I am impressed by people who are I've been a nanny before, and like when you're basically like you're being paid to be the stay-at-home mom, but you have a time off, and that is hard. Like I can't imagine doing that all day, and then like when you're off, you're still a mom.
That's the problem. It's like, yeah, with your job, with the stay-at-home mom job, because it's like, well, that's the only thing that I'll give you that's harder than any other job. At some point, you can walk away.
Yeah, it's like stay-at-home moms and teachers, I think, have it the worst because teachers have to like grade
teacher can walk
papers.
away.
No, they got to take all that schoolwork home with them.
Sam, a teacher.
I'm not your mother.
You look like her. A teacher can walk away. A teacher can quit. Like a parent can't quit. You go to jail if you don't feed that kid.
That is so not
get
true.
him to
Plenty
school.
of parents quit.
Plenty of parents quit, but you gotta it's so much harder to do as a
Yeah,
parent.
you gotta pay like a child
support and alimony, and then you gotta get the kid to, or you gotta legally give up the kid.
Yeah,
Which is a whole ordeal. That's hard work too. It ain't like that you can just be like, it's not like Michael Scott and you can be like, I declare bankruptcy. Like you can't just yell out, I don't own this kid. And then it's like, oh, okay, well, he yelled
I mean, some people just put it on a doorstep.
Firemen.
Are people still doing that, putting babies on doorsteps?
I thought doorsteps. Then you put it on like the doorstep of like a fire station.
No, they do it at like a nunnery or like an orphanage or
I feel like
something.
people always leave a baby at a fire station.
What movie did you see where they left a baby
Breaking
at a
Bad.
fire station?
Breaking Bad.
They did that in Breaking Bad?
Yep.
Whose baby?
Walter White. His little baby girl. And at the end, he takes it to go run. And then he calls his wife. And
Oh,
he makes it seem
yeah,
like
you're right.
He forced her to do everything, even though he's lying.
That's right.
on the
I
phone.
remember now.
But it's just so to help her out.
Yeah,
It was smart that he did it.
that was smart. He got her off the hook.
I mean, and she deserved to go down for everything.
She did. She knew everything for most of the show.
And she was a part of it.
And she was a part of
laundered
it.
his money.
She pushed it. She's like, let's keep doing
Yeah,
this.
she deserves to go down. She deserves to go down. She's just as guilty as the bitch in Ozark.
Oh, no. I think Laura Linney's more guilty. You know,
No, Laura Linney's more okay. Laura Linney's more guilty because she's more involved. But I'm saying Skylar is guilty.
Yeah.
Like, you don't get to run 3 seasons of laundering money and then be like, what? I don't know what's going on.
Do you feel like when they wrote Ozark, they were like, I really loved Breaking Bad. How do we do that but different?
They were like, how do we do that, but we can make a worse version of Skylar? Is it possible to make a woman that we hate more than Skylar? Because they found a way.
You hate Laura Linney more than you hate Skylar?
I hate them equally.
I
They
hate
both
them
suck.
so equally.
They're both the worst.
You know what's annoying? No, because Laura Linney does the same thing. Because Skylar would always make it like it wasn't her fault that she was in all this.
So, but that's what she.
But yeah, they both do it.
And Laura Linney's worse probably because she's way more involved. She was like involved from the jump.
Not from. Oh yeah, from
she
the
was
jump.
From the
She
day
knew that
they
it was
did
happening from
he
the
told
day.
Her, hey, because the Mexican dude invited her, and he told her what was going on, and she was like, "No, we can't do that. I mean, can we?" And then they're like flirting with the idea, and then as the night progresses, they're both like, "Let's do it."
Let's do it. It is crazy. Also, it's crazy how good their relationship is that they have that much communication to run this whole money laundering business, but it's also so bad that they hate each other that much.
They hate each. Well, I mean, they hate each other because he's good at his job, and she can't handle that. If we're being all the way on, he's good at his job, and what requires him of his job is full 100% focus because there's life and death involved.
Mm-hmm.
And she can't handle that he's that important.
She can't handle it because also her skills are more social skills. That's why she flourishes in the political side of it. Like she's great at all that.
She's terrible because that's not good in the drug world.
It's not good enough.
Being a social butterfly is
doesn't
not
make you
helping
great
the
in the
cartel.
drug world. But where his social thing is he's just I do the job.
Numbers.
And numbers, and then I handle everything else in this like very straightforward way, which Jay would much rather work with. And this like fancy language and blah 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 blah.
You said with who would much rather work with?
The cartel.
Yeah.
I said they.
Yeah. Oh yeah. 100%. I don't want some woman who runs her mouth for a living.
She does run her mouth for a living. Laura.
She's a fucking politician, and she keeps trying to like climb, and that's bad.
Oh, it's like, why are you trying to climb in the cartel world? Like, you're just going to get to the top, and they're going to execute you.
You're about to say, look what they just did to your lawyer friend. She got all the way she got as close to the top as she could get. She was his literal number 2, and he blew her fucking brains out.
Yeah, if you guys haven't watched Ozark yet,
well, they don't know who number 2 is. I guess when you start watching, you go, I guess it's this lady. Oh, thanks, Deric. I guess it's this lady who's his fucking number 2.
It's really good.
It's so good, bro. That show is fucking great.
And even though we just gave a lot of it away, it's still a very enjoyable show. You would still love every moment of it. I didn't say anything about the kids.
You don't want Karens involved in your business because that's what Laura Linney is and that's what Skylar is.
They're the quintessential Karens.
Karens, dude.
They're blonde, which is like, I know that that's mean to like stereotype like that, but blondes?
I mean, that is why looking back at Breaking Bad now and Ozark, it's like, well, why do those 2 men excel in that field? Because they're both just numbers. Everything is a number.
Mm-hmm.
Science, it's math. It's
there's
like,
no
there's no love, there's
fluff.
no emotion, there's no fluff. Like the only time he gets emotionally tied up in Breaking Bad is for Jesse or against Jesse. Like, you know what I mean? Either way, but that's the only time where like emotion sways Walter.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Jason Bateman's good that even his own kid, nothing sways his emotions.
Yeah.
There's no Jesse to like make him do something that he wouldn't normally do.
No, there isn't. I mean, they have the kids.
But he don't do that for them.
No, he doesn't.
He does everything to protect them.
Oh, what about his number 2? I don't want to give away more stuff from Ozark because
who cares? Watch it.
Yeah,
Pause
if you
this,
haven't
go
watched
watch
it yet, you guys are missing out. What about what's her face? He doesn't do everything for her, but he does a lot for her.
The wife?
No. Damn, why can't I remember her name? She's
Rose?
like the best actress in this show.
Rose. Isn't that her name?
Is it Rose?
She's the fucking country chick.
Yeah, she's Langmore. What? Is it Rose? Does Rose feel
Something
wrong?
Langmore.
Rose feels wrong, doesn't it?
It does. It doesn't feel right. It's something about it, but it's so close.
It's really close to whatever the right name is, and now you said Rose, and I can't get
Wyatt,
Rose out of my.
There's Wyatt. There's Russ. There was the dad, Cade.
Well, I can't remember. She's the most important character of the entire show.
I remember everybody.
I remember everyone else.
Rose. Langmore.
Is it Rose?
Ruth.
Ruth. It's
Jesus
Ruth.
Christ. Why didn't you guys fucking say something?
Yeah, say something.
Jesus. Yeah, Ruth Langmore. No, because he doesn't let, even when bad shit happens to Ruth, he don't let it sway his emotion.
No, you're right.
He'll
try to save her, but yeah.
Darlene let it sway her emotions when she went and blew his dick off.
I think she's my new favorite.
Darlene was always my favorite. She was
really?
Because she was always the scariest.
Yeah.
Even, you know what's funny? Jacob Snell was scary, but not as scary as Darlene.
Yo, you guys have to watch the show. It's so good. I think it's better than Breaking Bad.
No, it ain't better. They gotta end it. You gotta end it perfect.
I mean,
Breaking Bad ended perfectly.
They've got time, and they haven't finished it yet.
I mean, Game of Thrones was also better than Breaking Bad. Like a lot, there were things that were the best show of all time, and they can't land.
Yeah, don't bring up Game of Thrones
The
and
Office,
how they broke our hearts.
The Office didn't land. It took them 2 extra seasons and then a finale. They landed on the finale, but it took like all that fluff to get to like the finale.
I think
so they could land
the problem with that was they should have landed it when
Michael left.
Michael was going to leave, but they didn't want to. NBC didn't want to finish the show yet. And
yeah, there was so much money on the table.
Yeah, I think that was their own fault. That was a money thing.
Should have ended on season 7.
Yeah, but you can't blame the writers for that. That was for sure an upstairs man
because when
decision.
something's done, you can't force it either, which is what they were trying to do for 2 seasons. Just fucking force it.
But I like the way they ended it because I completely forgot that The Office was supposed to be a documentary. You just get used to the docu style.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh.
Yeah, it would come out.
This would come out as a documentary.
The real world, yeah. No, I agree with that. No, the finale was phenomenal, but there was 2 seasons of fluff.
Yeah.
Where it wasn't needed. It was just like, okay. Whereas Breaking Bad, there's no fat. It's one of the few
there really
shows.
Isn't any fat. And I like the what's the movie they did on Netflix with the car? It's like named after a car.
Cars.
No, the Breaking Bad movie. Like if that's supposed to happen immediately after it's not Corvette.
Corvette.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
We walk like that. We
okay.
talk like that.
What's the movie we're doing? Oh wait, should we talk about
ads?
Our ad?
Yeah, we should pay the bills.
We should pay the bills,
guys. It's time to pay the bills. Also, if you're listening to this, make sure you pay your bills. Very important.
Yeah, it's hard times, but you got to get it done.
But they don't care. But for our bills, there's only one bill to pay, and that's to the president of the podcast, the Uncle Sam in this universe, Mr. Darren Bates. Salute, Darren Bates. We want to thank you. He pays our bills, and all he wants you to do, the only thing he wants you to do from this ad, all he wants you to take away, all our new listeners that are here from The Fighter and the Kid, what's up? Nice to meet you. Welcome to the Bean family. You're in the gang now. You want you to listen to one episode? You're in.
Blood in, blood out.
There's no fucking way out, dude. You're not in the Bean family anymore once you fucking die. And don't have kids because they are already born into it. It keeps going.
Never stops.
So, what's up? Nice to meet you. All the people from King and the Sting as well. Haven't never said what's up to you, but what's up, guys? Thanks for coming. All you Fighter and the Kid people. I hope you enjoyed the last 2 episodes that I was on. Yeah, boy. Go listen to that. But here, right now, we're showing love to the guy who pays the bills here on this pod. It's not Blue Apron. It's Darren Bates.
D Bates.
DARENBATES at Westlandson_56. And all he wants you to do is follow him on Instagram. That's it. Doesn't want you to pay for anything. Doesn't want you to do a terrorist attack. He doesn't want any of that. He doesn't. I promise you. As much as you might think he wants a terrorist attack, he doesn't. He just wants you to follow him.
Leave a comment.
Listen
to his
Support.
podcast.
Listen to his podcast, The Raw Room.
The Raw Room.
The Raw Room. It's raw in there. It's in a room. 4 walls. Raw Room. Follow him. Subscribe on all the platforms. It's available. It's available everywhere you listen to Spoil the Beans. So go show our boy some motherfucking love, guys. That's what you do, Bean Gang.
And tell him the Bean sent you.
Tell him the Beans sent you his way. That's what we ask of you. Samantha Lee.
Yes.
The Queen of Baltimore. The Duchess of Parkton is what they call you.
The Duchess.
Can you do me a favor? A solid.
What's up?
Can you show me your boobs?
Nope.
Okay.
We've talked about this before.
Well, I'll just move on then to the next favor I was going to ask. Can you tell me what you think happens in a movie film that you have never seen that is a classic from 1988? Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Ooh, okay. All right. So I know Roger Rabbit, the big white bunny, is in it, and I know that his wife, the sexy booby lady, is in it.
Sexy booby, that's what I call you.
That's very kind.
Sexy booby.
So I'm gonna guess someone has framed him, and he's like running from the law. But at the same time, he's trying to uncover who framed him so that he can clear his name.
Well, some fugitive shit.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This is definitely like the animated version of Fugitive.
Which you also have never seen.
Which I've never seen. That's true. So he's running around. He's trying to figure out who framed him. Turns out it's probably like one of his like closest friends, like someone he's working
like Bugs?
with. Are they friends? Aren't they
well,
like?
I was thinking of any other tune.
Well, I think that they don't go together. Like, isn't Roger Rabbit Disney and Bugs is WB? So no, can't go together. Maybe he did frame him because they're arch enemies.
Could be that.
But I'm gonna guess that the person who framed him is like someone he's been working with forever, and he thought was really close to him, and he trusted, and they framed him. And his wife is his big booby wife. She is also trying to help him.
His wife has some knockers, dude.
I have seen the images. I'm aware.
She is a hot cartoon. And so what do you think? How do you think it wraps up?
I'm going to guess his wife, because this is probably one of those films where like he's the crazy one and she's the smart one. She probably puts two and two together, and she does like maybe like a kind of Elle Woods situation where she
What's
like,
that?
oh damn, I forgot you've never seen Legally Blonde. Well, I don't want to give that away. That's the best part of Legally
Well, then
Blonde.
don't tell me.
All right. She does a situation where she gets the guy to like to out himself, whoever framed him. And then the guy's like, "Oh, no." And then everyone knows that it's him. And that's the end.
That's interesting. That's not what happens in this.
Okay, cool.
You were 100% wrong, because the only thing you got right was that the word frame was in it. So you were like, oh, somebody must get framed in Roger Rabbit. So you were 2% right.
It wasn't him?
You were 2% glass of milk today.
Hmm.
You ready to hear Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Let's do it.
This movie's fucking crazy, bro. I was rewatching it like, holy shit, I can't believe they made this. Credits roll. You hear slow jazz playing in the background. And then in that old school font, like that Casablanca font,
Ooh.
Who Framed Roger Rabbit comes up, right? We see like the beginning of what a Looney Tune cartoon would look like. You know, like the little circle, and then the episode starts.
Yeah.
And it's like a straight up cartoon. Okay? And it's like an episode of Roger Rabbit, and it's like Roger Rabbit takes care of Herman the baby. Like that's the name of the episode. And a woman tells Roger, like, Roger, you better take, like, you know how you see just the mom's legs?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
That shot. Roger, you gotta take care of baby Herman today. And if you don't do it right, you're going back to the science lab. And he's like, oh no, not the lab where they experiment on me. You know? And she's like, yeah, well, you take care of the baby. So while he's like saying how he's gonna do such a good job taking care of the baby, as the mom walks out, you see the baby sneak out of its playpen. Right? And then it like does all the bad stuff, like cuts all the stovetops on, cuts the oven on,
puts his finger in the
socket. Well, no, like while he's about to do all this, like Roger stops him and like he does it.
Yeah.
And like gets hurt.
Okay.
You know, and it's like that kind of montage.
Uh-huh.
And then the baby's doing all this to get a cookie, and the baby finally gets a cookie, and when he gets it, a refrigerator falls on Roger's head. And he sees Tweety birds or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then you hear, cut! And the camera pans back, and you see it's like being filmed by humans.
Yeah.
And they're like real.
Uh-huh.
All right. Like they're animated, but they're like in this real world. And then the baby starts talking, and the baby has like a really deep, scratchy voice. He's like, oh, come on. Who fucked this up, huh? Who fucked up this take? And then Roger's like, I'm sorry. And they're like, and the director's like, Roger, you keep forgetting your lines. You're supposed to see stars, not Tweety birds. And he's like, I'm sorry, I can do it again. And he hits his head again. He like sees the wrong thing again.
Yeah.
And they're like, Roger, you're messing it up. Cut. That's lunch, everybody. And Roger's like, I'm sorry, everybody. I can do better. So you see a man in a corner with like a hat low watching all this, and then he looks at the camera and he's just like, tunes. Okay?
Okay.
Hollywood, 1947.
Back in its heyday.
This is an old Hollywood movie. It made me I was like, oh, I didn't realize that. Like, I never thought about it. I've never seen it from this perspective after living in LA and Hollywood and being all around it and shit.
I kind of figured it was like a kind of Hollywood movie because I've seen images from it. I knew that there were live action people with the animated people, and all the live action people are dressed in that sort of like
old Hollywood way. Yep. So the man who was watching, who was like tunes, his name is Mr. Valiant. Eddie Valiant.
Okay.
Like Valiant. And he's like a white dude. You recognize him from a lot of shit if you saw the actor.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the guy who was supposed to play this role turned it down, said it's the biggest turn down mistake he ever made. Mr. Eddie Murphy.
Really?
Said he turned down this role because he was like, fucking, I'm not, cartoons.
Yeah.
The fuck is this shit? And like,
gosh,
tossed it. And this movie made like $300 million. You know who directed this movie?
Spielberg?
Robert Zemeckis. Forrest Gump guy.
Really? Huh. Interesting.
Very, right? So, the man's name is Valiant. He goes and he sees the studio exec, a maroon cartoon, right? That's his, like maroon cartoons. That's the name of the studio.
Mm-hmm.
And they talk about how Rogers doing terrible, and the exec says, oh, it's because of his girlfriend. She's really putting him through the ringer, that Jessica Rabbit. And then he's like, well, what's that got to do with me? That's what Valiant says. He's like, well, you're a private eye. I need you to get some juicy pics of her to spice the rabbit up with. And he's like, all right, well, I don't want to do it. I don't want to go into Toontown. I hate it there. And the guy's like, you don't even have to go into Toontown. Someone said she works at this club that's like human, that like allows humans in and all that. And then Eddie's like, he doesn't want to do it. And then he's finally like, all right, job's going to cost you $100. And the guy's like, that's ridiculous, but God damn it, okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. It is 1947, so $100
it goes pretty far.
Pretty far. So you see Eddie looking out the window, and while he's looking out, Dumbo flies by, and it scares the shit out of him.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, shit. And
wait,
it's Dumbo.
Eddie?
Yeah.
This is the guy who was supposed to be played by Eddie Murphy.
Eddie Murphy. Eddie is Eddie Valiant. Who's
that's
his
name. Okay.
So you can just see him as Eddie Murphy if it makes it easier.
It does make it easier, but I know it's going to confuse me when I watch the actual movie.
So the exec says how like, oh, that's Dumbo. I got a loan from him from Disney. So there are, just so you know, there is crossover in this of characters that are Disney.
Okay, I thought it was a Disney movie.
This movie's on Disney Plus.
Yeah, but this isn't a Disney movie?
It is a Disney movie.
You're saying it's crossover,
like there are characters from Disney, and then there's animated characters that aren't from Disney in it.
Oh, okay.
Like they paid clearly for the rights to everything.
Wow, that's crazy.
So you see Dumbo at the wall, and then the exec I thought was interesting. He said how the best thing about these elephants is they work for peanuts, and he laughs all evilly. And then you realize like, oh, the tunes are getting taken advantage of in this world.
Oh, of course they are.
Right? So he says, here's $50. I'll give you the other 50 when you finish the job. So he goes outside, and it's crazy to see this world because it's like the world that we know of Hollywood, like the way the studios look and all that.
Uh-huh.
But he's like walking by like the WB frog and like the stork. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And he runs to this like he gets out and he hops on the back of like a trolley, like those red old school trolleys that used to be everywhere. And he hops on one of them and he gets to where he's going, right? He goes to a bar, and one of his friends is passed out because he got laid off, and he starts messing with him. And then he tells the bartender he wants a drink, but the bartender's like, her name's Dolores. And she's like, no, you owe me money. You drink here too much. I'm not giving you anything. And he's like, oh, come on. And he shows her the check he just got for $50. And then she's like, damn. And he also makes a bargain with her to use her camera. He needs to borrow it.
Okay.
So she lets him. Okay. So she lets him use his camera. And then she notices on the check, it's like, oh, you got that from Maroon Cartoons. Like, oh, wow, look at, you're making deals with them. He's like, oh, don't worry about it. So right then a guy hears that he's, doing something with Maroon Cartoons, like a drunk guy at the bar, and starts making fun of him. Like, oh, what you gonna do, Private Eye? You gonna go help find Miss Bo Peep? Huh? Gonna go get Sylvester out of a tree? And like he's laughing to himself, and then the Eddie guy grabs him and like slams his head on the table and goes, I don't work for tunes. Get that through your head, meatball. I don't work for tunes. All right, and the guy's like, whoa, okay. So right then the bartender.
Wait, is the guy that said that Italian? Is that why he calls him a meatball?
Eddie, yeah, Eddie is Italian. Eddie Valiant.
Yeah, but who's the person he's
calls
talking
him a meatball.
to? Yeah. Okay.
I think it's just because he's an idiot. Like, you idiot. So right then he leaves, and the guy goes, man, what's that guy's problem? And the bartender's like, old Hollywood style, because it's that kind of movie, right? She's like,
You see.
you see, a tune killed his brother, dropped his safe right on his head. He hasn't been the same ever since. That's like, you gotta like understand, like the movie's set like an old Who Framed Somebody movie, but there's fucking cartoons. So our boy Eddie goes to this gangster spot, right? And there's penguins all inside. Those are all the servers. They're just animated penguins.
Oh, like from Mary Poppins.
Yep. Those are all the servers. And Daffy and Donald Duck are on stage playing like a piano tune together. And they're fighting each other. And Eddie, he sits and he orders a scotch on the rocks. And then he looks at the waiter. And he's like, I mean ice, by the way. You fucking tunes. And he brings him back the drink and it just has rocks in it.
Yeah.
And so he's watching this. And the crowd's going nuts for Daffy and Donald. And then right then, Betty Boop comes by, and she's a waitress. You know the black and white Betty Boop?
I know who Betty Boop is.
And she's like, hey, Eddie, how you doing? And he's like, oh, you work here, Betty? I didn't know that. And she's like, yeah, work's been pretty slow in cartoons since everybody wants color now.
Oh,
she's black and white.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? I thought that was like, that's really kind of interesting how she would lose her job.
Jeez.
She wouldn't be able to keep up.
She wouldn't.
So it's like a silent picture kind of thing, I guess.
Or like, yeah, from the silent pictures to talkies.
But she's like, but I still got it, Eddie. And he's like, oh, you do, though. That you do.
And she's got that kind of voice, that like, that like cherub face kind of voice.
Exactly that shit.
Yeah, those people didn't cross over well.
Not at all. So then you hear, you had plenty money in 1922. You let other women make a fool of you, but why don't you do right? And you look up and you see Jessica Rabbit singing on stage. And this bitch is bad. The classic long red dress with the slit going all the way up.
Oh, yeah.
Huge tits jumping out of her dress.
This is supposed to be a kid's movie.
Bro, this cartoon can get it in the butt.
Is she a rabbit?
No, she's a woman.
I know. That's why I've always been
Her name's
confused
Jessica Rabbit.
by the name.
Why? Who do you think she's married to?
Yeah, but they called her his girlfriend at the top of the movie.
No, they said his wife. I'm sorry.
Oh,
I said
I'm sorry.
but it's his
Okay.
wife.
Okay.
But that's why.
That makes more sense.
Yeah, that's why she's married to him.
Yeah.
Did you not know that?
No, I knew she was married. I said his wife, but then you said girlfriend, and I was like, wait, is she a rabbit? I didn't know.
Is she a fucking real? Like, no, because you're thinking
Was I
Lola.
I was like, was I so distracted by her boobs?
By her boobs, and I didn't even notice it was a woman. No, you're thinking of Lola Bunny, who also has a nice badonk and some nice boobs.
That's
and
the bunny.
She is a rabbit.
That's a WB character.
That's Bugs' girl.
Yeah.
So that's Bugs' bitch, you know what I mean? So he's watching her sing and strut across the stage, and his mouth's just like wide open. He can't believe how bad she is.
Is there one of those dung kind of moments
Like,
where all their
pretty much,
mouths
but,
like drop?
Yeah, like that.
Yeah, I love that.
Also, the animation really holds up in this movie. Like, it doesn't look cheesy.
It's Disney.
They blend in really well with the people, you know. So
also, Disney had already done that so many other times. Like, you have like So Dear to My Heart. There's
never seen it.
The Pete's Magic Dragon. Like
Seen that.
He's done that so many times with the animation on the film that but that years and years past, they would have been so ready for this.
1988, they were ready for this. Yeah. So after the show, he goes backstage and he's like listening into her dressing room, trying to listen. And the big gorilla bouncer catches him and throws him outside. Like, get out of here, you peeping Tom. So he goes up to the window and he's listening, and he hears Jessica talking to this guy he met inside, a Mr. Acme, who owns Toontown. All right, because he's the Acme guy.
Yeah.
Okay. And he was like doing all these jokes while he was inside. He loves tunes. Like, that's his life's work, obviously, and he loves tunes. So he's like, he sprayed him like with invisible ink, and he like did the handshake with the buzzer on him. And Eddie was like, I don't like this shit. You know what I mean? And he kind of walks off. So he opens up the window to see what Jessica's talking to, and she's talking to the Acme guy, and they're flirting.
Oh.
And you hear her going, oh, Marvin. And she's like, and Marvin's like, you want to play patty cake? And she's like, yeah, patty cake. Ooh, patty cake. Ooh, Marvin, patty cake. Patty cake, patty cake. And you see him taking pictures, right? Cut to, it's the studio exec who hired the private eye, Eddie, and they're showing the pictures to Roger. And Roger's like, no! Patty cake, patty cake, patty cake, patty cake. It can't be real. I don't believe you. And then Eddie's like, believe me, kid. I took the pictures myself. And then he looks at the pictures, and it's literally Jessica Rabbit and the guy playing patty cake.
Yeah.
Like,
that's really funny.
Laughing.
That's really funny.
And he's like, that's my wife. And he's like freaking out. Someone made her do it. She would never just play patty cake for no reason. Yo, that's crazy, right? The patty cake reference. But the heartbreak on his face is so real. You're
Yeah.
like, damn, this bitch played patty cake with another dude.
How dare she?
I would be mad though. If I caught you playing patty cake with like Michael B. Jordan, it'd be fucking a problem, dude.
Oh yeah. I mean, because you know what patty cake means.
If you saw me playing patty cake with Scarlett Johansson, how would you feel?
I'd
we're, like,
ask you.
giggling.
I'd ask you if I could join.
And we're like, no, I keep it a secret from you.
No, I would be mad at you for not letting me get at ScarJo.
And
You
play
know,
patty cake?
you know that I had a massive poster of her in my college dorm.
That's weird. She wasn't even Black Widow yet.
No, but she was beautiful.
So, Roger's going off, right? And they hand him a drink to calm him down,
Mhm.
and the drink like makes him like a drink of bourbon makes him like change colors, and he like blows up like a train whistle, you know, like the out of his ears, and,
Yeah.
like, that classic kind of shot. And then he passes out, and he's like, "I needed that, boys." So Eddie's like, "Well, my work here is finished, Mr. Roon. Give me the rest of my money." He pays him the rest of his money, and then Roger goes off on like, "You think this is about money, huh? That's not what this is about. This didn't happen. I'll get to the truth of this. Jessica and me will be happy again. You'll see. You'll all see." And he jumps out the window.
Aw.
Okay? And then you see him crying in an alley that night by himself, looking at the pictures, going, "Please, please tell me this isn't true, honey. Please." I'm not gonna lie, in that scene, I did feel for a man who got cheated on. You feel for this rabbit. It's like, damn, bro, this rabbit really got his heart broke.
Poor Roger.
Also, if I caught you playing patty cake with another man, I'd probably cry in an alley too. If somebody showed me the pictures of it,
And we were laughing and giggling.
yeah, you're just fucking having the best time.
That was so fun.
Oh, this is so
Patty cake, bakers. Oh my
fun. Oh
god.
god. So Eddie goes back to his office, right? And he's looking at pictures of him and Dolores back when they were happy, the bartender from the bar. Remember there was a bartender named Dolores?
Oh yeah.
Like they used to be together. He's looking at those pictures. And then he's looking at pictures of his brother. His
Before he got
ex-partner.
smashed by a safe.
Yeah,
Or
well, you find out his brother was his partner in his private eye. It's called Valiant and Valiant.
okay.
And they used to be a huge like thing.
Mm.
And now he like lives in his own office. Like his things have gone so downhill since his brother. And he has a major drinking problem. And he's looking at all the cases they cracked together and like how they graduated from the cop school at the same time. And Eddie just drinks himself to sleep.
Yeah.
Okay. The next morning, another cop wakes him up and says, "Hey, the rabbit killed Marvin Acme last night. We gotta go."
Whoa.
Well, you knew it was coming.
Yeah, I
Something
did.
of this magnitude, just off the title. But it is still to hear it. You're like, oh, this is how they're doing this.
Is this Eddie guy, is he doing voiceovers the whole time? You know, like they do in those old Private Eye things like, "I didn't know her, but she came here from
No.
the... No.
Or at least I don't think so. I don't remember them doing that.
Okay.
I don't remember them. But that is a good trope.
Yeah.
You know? So they drive over, and as they're driving back to the studio, he looks over and he goes, "Toontown. Haven't been this close since my brother." And as he looks over, you see, and it's just like a cartoon sunset.
Wow.
But he's like close to it.
Uh-huh.
All right. And they go in, they see the crime scene, and apparently someone dropped a safe on his head. They're all tune ways to die, which are very
Yeah.
funny to me. So the cops start playing with all the tune stuff. Eddie notices them questioning Jessica Rabbit upstairs.
Mm-hmm.
And she comes down and she goes, "Mr. Valiant." And he's like, "Hello." And she slaps the shit out of him. She's like, "I hope you're proud of yourself and the pictures you took." And she storms out all sexy. So there's a big commotion as they bring the body out. And as they bring the body out, his hand drops out of the gurney.
Mm-hmm.
And the little buzzer that he like shocked Eddie with last night falls out. Eddie goes to pick it up. And you hear a man go, "Do you dare mess with a crime scene?" And he looks up. And we see our other lead in this movie, Doc Brown.
What? I
Great
love
Scott!
Doc Brown.
Yep. And he's all in black, and he's got a black hoodie, and he looks scary as shit.
In a black hoodie.
Like he's got a black hat and like black trench coat on.
Oh,
like a
okay,
black
yeah,
cane.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? He looks scary,
Uh-huh.
and his eyes look kind of crazy. And he goes, he goes off on him, and he questions Eddie about the murder, and then he gives him. He knows who he is. Like you used to be such a good private eye. Now you're just a drunk. And they're like, "We're looking for the rabbit. Besides, he won't get far. My men will find him." And then right then you see all his other detectives pull up, and just like in The Professional, where Gary Oldman's all bad guys, like all gangsters,
Yeah.
all the other cops are all gangsters, and they're all weasels, but they're dressed like gangsters.
Cool.
Like they got jewelry and like zoot suits,
Cool.
you know.
Zoot suits.
And So they go, you know where the rabbit might be, Mr. Valiant? And he makes jokes like kind of brushing it off. And then Doc Brown's like, hey, a human was murdered by a tune. I think you'd take that a little more serious, wouldn't you, Mr. Valiant? Like, your brother.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, no, this is all crazy. I don't know what to think of it. He goes, let me tell you something. I run Toontown. And the only way that works, the Toons have to respect you. The Toons have to respect the law around here.
What is this guy like? Denzel in
He's the
Training
judge
Day.
of the he literally is.
And he
Like he runs Toontown. So apparently he's Mr. Doom, and you find out that he bought the election that won him like the lead, pretty much like the chief of police for Toontown. He like rigged this election, and that's how he won it.
Cool.
He also won it because he's the only person who knows how to kill a Toon. He created this acid that actually kills them.
Oh, you can't kill tunes otherwise?
Well, no, how would you kill it? Like, you can't shoot a Toon. You can't drop a Toon off his
Why can't you
50-story
just
building.
drop an anvil on its head?
A Toon will get up and just go, ooh.
That's true.
They're not like, what do you mean? Have you ever seen a Toon die in cartoons ever?
That's a good point. Wile E. Coyote, he's never died.
Dude, and he gets fucked up.
He gets messed up. And they're not, and also the Roadrunner's not even like worried, like, oh, am I going to get charged with anything?
Yeah, you're right. The Roadrunner never like gets a lawyer.
Yeah.
And like, oh shit, I fucked and went too far on
I
this
went
one.
too far. I took him off too many cliffs.
I took him off way too many cliffs. That guy died. So he has this, and then he goes, you want to see it work? And he grabs like this little animated shoe, and the shoe's like, no.
The shoe?
And he drops it in, and the acid, and the shoe like melts on some Terminator 2 shit.
So he just killed a perfectly innocent Toon shoe.
To prove a point.
To prove a point. This guy seems like he's a baddie.
Yeah,
a baddie bad
guy.
bad.
And then I love it, his weasel sidekick goes, yeah, that's one dead shoe right there, boss. I don't know why. That shit made me laugh out loud. That's one dead shoe right there, boss. Yeah.
I wish people still talked like that.
Me too.
Yeah, see?
Yeah, see? Yeah, see? Get over here. So Valiant, he goes back to his office, and Baby Herman's there.
Oh, yeah. The one with the deep
The
voice?
one with the deep voice, and he's got like a bad bitch with him who's like in her 30s and
Nice.
like a cigar. And he's like, whoa, look at you. Still got a lust for the ladies, I see. And he's like, yeah, my problem is I got a 50-year-old lust and a 3-year-old dinky. But that's not why I'm here. He's like, this shit is whacked, you see. Everyone knows Acme has a will. Everyone knows. Because apparently, Toontown, if they don't find Acme's will that's gone missing, that he left, apparently he promised the Toons he was going to leave Toontown when he dies to the Toons. But now they can't find his will. And they're in the newspapers and all these stuff, everybody's saying, well, the will never existed. But all the Toons are like, this was real.
Yeah, because Acme was cool with them.
He was
so
cool
he
with
wouldn't
us,
just mess.
And he wouldn't just fuck us over.
Yo, it was a Doc Emmett Brown. It feels like he has the most motive.
So he goes, he says he's going to leave the Toons until we die. And he goes, I know my friend wouldn't do this to us and leave it to that fucking psychopath. Right? And he goes, and I think you need to help us. He's like, well, why should I fucking help you? He's like, because you got my buddy in trouble. And I figured you helped him. You got him into that. You can help get him out. And then he's like, save it, pal. And he pushes the baby's cart like down the aisle. Right? And he goes inside his office and he's like, it ain't my fault the rabbit got himself in trouble. All I did was take some lousy pictures. And then he's got like he drinks a bottle of like a glass of scotch and puts it down. And then he looks in the cup and it's on the newspaper, which has a picture of the Acme guy in the newspaper because he just died.
Yeah.
But you know how the glass is on it, so it'd be like a magnifying glass.
Yeah. And
through the glass, he can see in the newspaper picture, in Acme's pocket, it says "Last Will and Testament," and it's like a little paper sticking out. And he's like, like a clue, you know?
Yeah.
And he's like, maybe he wasn't lying. Maybe they weren't lying after all, you know? And he's like, the hell with this. And he's like, I'm going to bed. And he rolls over and he lays his bed down. And he goes to get in bed, and Roger Rabbit pops up. And he's like, ah! And they're like screaming at each other. How'd you get in here? And he's like, through the mail slot. He's like, I'm wanted for murder. And he goes, well, anyone know you're here? He's like, no one, not a soul. I mean, well, there's that one person. Who? Well, I couldn't find where you lived. So I asked the laundry guy. He didn't know. And then I asked the grocery guy. He didn't know. But then I asked the liquor store guy. And he knew. He's like, you idiot. Right? I didn't kill anyone, I promise. It's a scram, a setup. My whole purpose in life is to make people laugh. Don't you see? I would never hurt anybody. And then he goes, I'll admit, I got mad when you showed me the pictures. I did. So I rushed over to Acme's house. But it wasn't for him. It was to see Jessica. I wrote her a love letter.
Aww.
And he's like, really? You wrote your cheating wife a love letter? It's like, that's what I do. And he goes, I know she's innocent of all this. It's just circumstance. So I had to give it to her. But the weasels were waiting on me. So I knew there was only one place to go. The only place where tunes are taken care of. Valiant and Valiant. By the way, what happened to your brother? You know, the sober one. And he's like, get out of here, will you? Get out. And then you see he's like, all right, I'll leave. And he leaves through the closet. That's the closet, you idiot. And he opens the door and Roger's gone. He's like, what the fuck? And then Roger pops up behind him and handcuffs him to him. So now they're handcuffed to each other.
Uh-huh.
And he's like, now you gotta help me. He's like, I don't have the fucking cuffs. I don't have the keys for these, you idiot. Right? He's like, you're my only hope, though, Eddie. Please don't let him find me. You know, there's no justice for tunes anymore. Not if the weasels get their hands on me. Right then, the weasels shoot their way in.
Whoa.
And he hides him. He, like, takes him and he stuffs him in, like, dishwater. Like, it holds him down like he's doing dishes.
Yeah.
You know when the weasels are like, hey, Eddie, we're looking for the rabbit. Heard he came here.
Wait, they shoot their way into the innocent guy's house?
In Eddie's house?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then they come in and just talk to him like it's just normal?
Yeah. They're weasels.
They're weasels.
They're weasels.
Okay, all right.
They're not possums.
What is this movie rated, by the way?
I don't know.
Because this doesn't feel like it's for children.
I don't think it is, but it was. 88, bro.
Okay.
I mean, we watched Back to the Future the other day, and we were like, how is this rated PG?
They kept saying shit, and then they were raping people. Like, well, they didn't get to it, but they were trying.
They were, I mean, literally going for it.
It's like, wow, is this for
80s, bro.
But, you know, I don't think that was for kids. That was for, like, teenagers.
But kids could see it. It was rated PG.
Yeah. Probably PG-13.
I think this is rated PG-13. Like, this is still like, oh, you can bring your kid to this. I mean, Infinity War is rated PG-13.
Yeah, but they're not raping people in Infinity War.
Yet. Wait till Avengers 5 comes out.
I haven't seen WandaVision yet.
And you haven't seen WandaVision or Loki. We don't know what that's about. So he's hiding them, and the weasels are talking to him, right? And they question him, and they say, you know, if we find him in here, you know, you're going down. And then they leave. And then the rat, you know, he gets up, and he's like, oh, my God, thank you. I don't know how to, you saved me. They're gone. I don't know how to repay you. And then he kisses him on the lips.
Cute.
And he's like, never kiss me again. That's how you repay me. So they go to a bar, right? And Roger's stuffed in his coat.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes up to the woman, Dolores, and the woman's like, is that a rabbit in your pocket? Are you glad to see me, Eddie?
Wow.
And he's like, it's a rabbit in my pocket. Wow. So they help get the cuffs off, and you find out Roger just took his hand out the whole time. And they're like, God damn it.
Oh, because he's an animated. He got through the door.
He can do whatever he wants.
Yeah, what are we talking about?
And so they say that they're going to look for Acme's will. All right, which he goes, by the way, the weasels are still looking for me and still looking for you, which means they don't have the will yet.
Mm.
All right. So Eddie, he's like, I think Maroon set all this up. He's trying to get Toontown from Acme. So he comes home. He goes, Roger, you stay here at the bar. I'm going to go figure something out. So he goes home. When he goes home, Jessica's there. Jessica
Rabbit.
And she says, name your price, Valiant. I'll pay it. Just help my husband. Help get him off the hook. And then Eddie's like, what do you mean? You're the one who's did it all this. Like, there's no way you're not in on this. Like, there's no way. And she goes, hey, you don't know how it is. You don't know how it is living how I look. You know, I'm not bad. I'm just drawn that way, honey. Hey, you were playing patty cake with Acme. I got the pictures. She says, you didn't catch me do nothing. Maroon told me if I didn't play patty cake with him, then he wouldn't work. Then my own husband wouldn't work in this town again. You got to understand, Eddie, I love my husband. I couldn't let that happen, you see? And Eddie's like, he doesn't believe her. She's like, well, my offer stands firm. Just think about it. And then her, like, the kiss she blows, like, flies over and, like, lands on his cheek. And God damn it. He throws it off of him.
That would happen. And, like, that just seems like a very, like, 50s kind of idea. Like, there's, like, this mobster boss saying your husband's going to lose his job unless you have sex with someone. Mm-hmm. That seems like that would happen.
And it's all a part of this
Hollywood.
big ruse.
Yep. It's very Hollywood. Very Hollywood. Y'all are...
Still happening.
Still happening.
We don't know what Idris Elba and Leonardo DiCaprio are getting into.
We don't know.
And it's probably rabbit fucking.
Definitely.
So Dolores comes right when she gets there. She catches the moment where, like, she blew the kiss at him.
Dolores?
Yeah, okay. You know, girl, and she's like, oh, that painted hussy turning your head. And he's like, no, you can't. This is all about the rabbit, you see? She has nothing to do with me. He's like, I promise, honey. And she goes, you're wrong. And then right then on the news, they find out Cloverleaf, like, did it. He just put in
Cloverleaf.
Cloverleaf is a company that just bid in the highest bid for Toontown. Now that Acme's dead, it wasn't Maroon. Like they even outbid Maroon cartoons.
Yeah.
And they're like, that makes no sense. And they go, we got to find a rabbit. We got to go back to the rabbit. So they go back to the bar. Roger is performing for everyone.
Even though he's a wanted man.
But everybody's loving because he makes people laugh. That's what he does. So he's performing for everybody. Everybody's laughing. And then Eddie gets back and he grabs him. He's like, I've been breaking my neck out there for you, and you're in here singing and dancing. That's what I do, Eddie. I make people laugh. And he goes, a laugh can be a very powerful thing. I mean, sometimes, Eddie, it's the only weapon we have.
I really wish Eddie Murphy was in this movie.
It'd be crazy if it was Eddie Murphy.
It'd be crazy because he has to be the straight man.
I know.
That's crazy.
And it would be cool to see him have to do that.
Yeah.
So right then, Doc Brown comes in. I'm looking for a murderer. He has his weasels with him. A rabbit, a toon rabbit about yay big. And Dolores is like, there's no rabbit here. And she's like, why don't you stop harassing my customers? I'm not harassing, but simply offering a reward. $500. And then right then, a guy goes, I saw a rabbit. And Eddie holds Roger, and he's like, you idiot. And the guy's like, yeah, he was in this bar. He's right over here. Say hello, Harvey. Ha! And he starts laughing. Everybody in the bar starts laughing. And the guy goes, well, and his name's Doom. That's Doc Brown's name. It's Doom.
Doom?
Doom.
Okay. I like Doc Brown better.
Yeah, it's more fun calling him Doc Brown. Yeah. That's who he is.
Also, I can visualize it more every time I hear Doc Brown.
It's also funny that he's the bad guy in this. He's always a good guy in my head.
He's always a good guy in my head, too. But yeah, he has the capacity to be a bad guy. He's got old man face.
He got that old man face. And that look, he looks crazy.
He looks crazy.
He looks so scary in this movie. So Doom, he smells the record player, and he could tell it's like a merry-go-round record, which is like only a record a tune would play. Because it's like like that kind of, And he's like, only a tune would play this. He's here. And
what? This is like a tune bar.
I know.
Any tune could have played this.
He goes, well, no tune can resist the old shave and a haircut trick. It's quiet. And he keeps walking. Then he does it on another wall. And then you see Eddie, and he's like, that's not going to work. And he turns around, and Roger's like this. Like it's taking everything.
Not to knock back.
Yeah. And then he does it again. Dun, 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 dun. And then Roger busts out, 2 bits. Dun, dun, and he grabs him. And he's like, I knew that would work. And then he goes, where am I? Oh, he grabs him. And he goes, bring me some dip. And they bring out the acid dip that kills tunes. And he's about to put him in it. And then Eddie goes, Dolores, pour me a double of bourbon. And he pours it. And he goes, hey, Judge, a dying rabbit deserves the last request. Hey, Roger, want a drink? And Roger's like, no, I'm good. Thanks, Eddie. As he's like over this acid. He goes, Roger, I think you really want this drink. No, Eddie, I'm good. I don't want it. Seriously. Roger, you should definitely take this drink. Eddie, I don't want the drink. Yes, you do. No, I don't. Yes, you do. No, I don't. No, you don't. Yes, I do. No, you don't. Yes, I do. Roger, you don't want this drink. Eddie, if I said I wanted it, I want it. And he takes it. And then he's like, ah! And he blows up again.
Yeah.
And everybody gets knocked down, right? While this happened, Eddie starts fighting the weasels, and they spill the acid dip. And so they're like, let's get out of here. And he grabs Roger. He throws him in a truck. They're about to leave, but the truck won't start.
No.
Right? It's the weasel's truck, too. Like, that's where they were going to, steal the weasel's truck. And then they hear somebody talking in the back, and Roger goes, it's Benny! And then they get out the back, and a cab, they open the back door, and a cab busts out, like an animated cab. Like, I guess from one of the cartoons, there was a talking cab.
Yeah, I guess.
When you see him, he looks familiar. I'm like, what do I know? I know this cab.
Yeah, I can't place that.
Yeah.
I feel like I can imagine what you're describing,
you've seen
too.
Him
it's got, the eyes or the headlights.
Yep,
yeah,
yep.
I think
And he talks through his grill.
Yeah. I can't place where I know that from, but yes.
So they get in the car, and they hightail it out. There's cops after him. The weasels are after him. And at one point, they pin him, and they look like they're about to smash him. And then Benny's like, pull the lever! And they pull the lever, and, it has, elevator legs. And they go over it, and the weasel and the cop car smash into each other, and they get away. So they go to a movie theater, right? And it's Dolores, and you see Eddie, and you see Roger. And they're watching a Goofy movie. And Roger's, screaming laughing. Going crazy laughing. And then he looks at him and he goes, Eddie, this guy's a legend, isn't he? I mean, the timing on this guy. And you see Goofy like smash into a wall, and he's like, oh my God. Like he's just like freaking out. And then he's laughing, and he looks at Eddie and he goes, Eddie, why don't you ever laugh, huh? What turned you into such a sourpuss? Roger, a tune killed my brother. And Roger's like, oh no. He's like, yeah, me and my brother, we were investigating a robbery in Toontown. Back then I loved Toontown. Lots of laughs, you know. Anyway, this guy got away with us with a zillion simoleons. We trailed him, but he got the drop on us, literally. And he dropped a piano on me and my brother, 15 stories high. Broke my arm. Teddy didn't make it. I never found out who the guy was. I just remember him laughing and those burning red eyes and that high voice. I'll never forget it. He disappeared into Toontown after that.
That high voice.
Mm-hmm. And Roger's like, oh, no, of course you hate me. A tune killed your brother. Oh, my God, I'm so sorry. I don't hate you, buddy. No, you hate me. You hate me. He's like, no, I don't hate you. I don't hate you. I honestly don't. Really? Really? And they kind of have a moment.
Mm-hmm.
And then right then Dolores goes, like, hey, you know, she tells him, she gets there, and he looks at her and he goes, Dolores, I'm sorry about all this. Maybe it's time for you to find a good man. You know, someone better. And she's like, I already have one, Eddie. And then they're about to kiss, and then Roger ruins the moment. And then they're about to leave the theater, and then you know how they used to show, like, commercials in movie theaters? Like they used to show, like the actual news?
Yeah.
So they show the news, and in the news they find out that Cloverleaf business also just bought all the trolley stations, right? And apparently Acme Cartoons and Cloverleaf made a deal together, you know, like some kind of deal together. And Eddie's like, that's it, Cloverleaf, right? So Eddie goes back to the studio.
So is Cloverleaf a studio?
A company.
A company.
It's like a big company.
But
it's buying up stuff.
But is it a movie company?
I don't know.
Okay, we don't.
I'm assuming so.
Yeah.
But it's some kind of big company that's buying up all these things.
Okay.
And it's like it's got its hand in all these things that is making Eddie go, what is this?
Yeah.
So, he goes back to the studio to talk to Maroon.
Mm-hmm.
And he tells Roger to wait here and cover my back. Keep your eyes peeled. And right when he leaves, and Roger's like, I'll keep my eyes peeled. I sure will. Bong! Somebody hits him with a pan. And he, like, gets dragged away.
Oh, no.
Okay? So Eddie sneaks in, and he scares the Maroon guy. He's like, Valiant, what are you doing here? You're going to give me a heart attack. Do you have the will? No, I don't have it. Do you have it? Look, I don't have it, all right? And then he's like, you got a lot of brass being here by yourself. And then he goes, Maroon's like, you said you got a lot of brass here being by yourself, Eddie. Who says I am by myself? And then right then we see it was Jessica who hit Roger with the pan. And Jessica Rabbit puts him in the trunk of a car.
What?
I know, right? Plot twist.
Jessica!
And then he goes, let me see that will now. And he looks at the will that apparently Maroon has, and it's not. It's just a love letter. It's the love letter that he wrote, right? And he's like, there is no will. It turns out it was all a big sham. Whoop-de-whoop. So he's about to hurt him. Eddie's about to punch this guy in the face, right? And he tells him how he's like, no, trust me. It wasn't. The only reason I was blackmailing Acme was to save Toontown. I'm trying to save Toontown. There's other people who are trying to destroy it, and I don't know who it is. And then right then you see a gun come pointing in the window, and they shoot and kill the Maroon guy.
What?
Yeah. And they're trying to shoot and kill Eddie, and then he looks. Eddie's like he misses him, and Eddie looks out the window, and he sees Jessica running away.
What? Jessica?
And he's like, Roger! Because Roger's gone.
Yeah.
Okay.
Why is Jessica such a baddie bad?
I don't know. So he takes off after the car, and the car that Jessica drives off into, and heads into Toontown. And Eddie stops because he doesn't want to go into Toontown. And he puts his real gun down, and then he opens up this like safe in the back of his car, and there's a Toon gun inside. And he pulls it out, you know? And he's like, you feeling frisky, fellas? And all the bullets are like, yeah, good to see you again. You know? And they're like, where you been, boss? And he's like, drunk. Let's go handle this. And they head into Toontown. So he goes through a tunnel, and he gets all nervous, and it looks like you're going to hit a brick wall.
Yeah.
And then at the end, it opens up, and you're like into Toontown.
Uh-huh.
And it's like, smile, darkness, smile. Things are never as black as they are painted. And they're all singing this song, right? And he crashes into something. And he looks up into a building, and it looks like he sees Jessica Rabbit's shadow. So he goes in the elevator, and he goes up, and he opens the door, and he's like, I gotcha. And you see this beautiful woman, and then she turns, and it's like this ugly man-looking woman. And then she's like, oh, a man, you who love a boy. And she starts running after him, and he, like, jumps out of the building, right?
Yeah.
And when he jumps out of the building, he catches himself, like, on a pole.
Mm-hmm.
And then you see Tweety Bird walk out. And he's like, Tweety Bird's like, oh, look at these little piggies. This little piggy went to the market. This little piggy went. He's like, stop. And this little piggy, and he falls. And he's like, no more piggies. And then Tweety Bird flies off. And then you see he's falling, and Bugs Bunny comes up to him, and it's Mickey Mouse and Bugs Bunny. And they're like, yo, what's up, Doc? And he's like, you guys wouldn't happen to have a parachute, would you? He's like, yeah, I got a spare, but I don't think you want it. I do. And Mickey's like, oh, give him the spare, Bugs. Oh. And then he gives him a spare tire.
Funny.
And he falls, and he kind of lands on the tire. And he's like, hey, Naya, stinker. And then he lands, and you see the ugly woman is still chasing him, and he, like, lifts up the street paint and, like, points it towards a brick wall. And so the lady goes, yeah, bam, just smashes into a brick wall.
Wow.
And he goes, tunes fall for it every time. So she tells him, right then he hears Valiant. And he turns around, and it's Jessica. And then she points a gun at him, and he's like, you. And she's like, behind you. And then she shoots at a guy behind him that's trying to kill him.
Ooh.
Right? And then he's like, what? What's going on? She's like, you still don't trust me, do you? Look, it's not me. It's Doom. It's Doom. And then you see Doom running away. You'll never get me. And he disappears. He's like, what? And she tells him that she hit Roger with a frying pan. And she hit him so he wouldn't get hurt. But someone's onto her. And Roger's gone. She couldn't find him when she went back to him. Like, went back to where she hit him. And then she's like, the weasels are coming to get him. And then right then, you see the cab show up. All right? And Jessica's telling him how she knows Doom did all this. It didn't have anything to do with her darling husband, you know?
Uh-huh.
And she's like, I knew it was Doom. And they get in the car, and then he looks at her, Eddie, and he's like, what do you see in that guy? And she's like, what can I say? He makes me laugh.
That is all we want.
That's all they want, fellas. That's literally all they want.
Entertain us.
And then a penis.
No, mostly the entertainment.
Yeah, it makes me. I'm sad to say, but mostly it's the entertainment.
The entertainment is key.
I'd say our relationship is 89% entertainment, 10% love, and then 1% sex.
Cooking. Oh.
Yeah, probably actually, to be honest, 1% cooking. When I never knew I just turned into. You never think you're gonna turn into some dad off a sitcom who doesn't have sex anymore, but it slowly happens. And you're like, when did I become Raymond?
The episode where they're talking about all the cooking on Raymond, and it sounds like they're talking about sex.
Yes.
Like all of the Deborah's cooking versus Marie's
cooking.
But the way they're talking about it is as if that's what sex is. Love that.
I do love that too. So they're driving, and they crash and spin out. Doom makes them spin out, right? And then the weasels come and grab them, Eddie and Jessica, and the cab pretends to be knocked out. Like his eye opens up like this, but he pretends like he's knocked out. So one of the weasels tries to frisk Jessica, and he reaches at her in her boobs. And he pulls out like a bear trap that clamps on his hands, and then Eddie goes, "Nice booby trap."
Oh my god!
Come on, is that not a fire joke?
That's an amazing joke.
So,
also, is this movie not for kids? What is it?
So Doom, they check him. They don't have the will on him, but Doom says it doesn't matter unless somebody shows up with that will in the next 15 minutes. Toontown is mine.
Yeah.
All right. So you see Roger. Remember how they say Roger got away?
Yeah.
You see him driving by now, and he sees Benny's cab all busted up. He's like, "Benny, that you?" And he tells Roger, "Doom took him to the Acme building. We gotta go." So they take off to the Acme building. Eddie finds out that Doom owns Cloverfield Industries. And that's who's been buying up everything.
Okay.
So right then, they get to Acme, and Roger, Roger has a gun, and they get there, and then Doom is showing off this vehicle he created. It's a dip truck, and it's a big acid shooting truck, and it's big enough to take out all of Toontown in minutes. And then
what's he gonna do with Toontown when they're all gone?
Eddie goes, "You don't think anyone's gonna notice? You got rid of Toontown?" And he goes, "No one will notice. Not when they're driving by at 75 miles an hour. We're going to call it a freeway."
Wow. This is crazy.
Old Hollywood, baby.
Yo, this is insane. What a what a metaphor.
And Eddie goes, what is a freeway? What the hell is that? 8 lanes running from here to Pasadena. No traffic jams. There'll be a thing of the past. You know? And he goes, wait, so you killed people? Innocent people for this freeway? You lack vision, Eddie. Soon where Toontown stood, there will be gas stations, hotels, restaurants that serve food really fast, car dealerships, and even billboards. Billboards as far as the eye can see. And he's like, what the hell is wrong with you? You don't understand. It'll be beautiful.
Wait, so where's Toontown? Is this like the 110 or something?
Yeah, pretty much. Or the 134. Or it could be the 101. It could be in LA, it could be a lot.
There's a lot of options.
And he goes, why would you do this, huh? Why? He's like, and he goes, why would a human want to use the freeway when they could take a red car for a nickel, the trolley?
Mm-hmm.
He's like, that's why I bought the red car, you idiot. I'm dismantling the business.
Yep, we don't have those anymore.
So right then, Roger busts in, and he has his gun pulled, and he's like, everyone stop. I got the drop on all you fools. And then right then, a bunch of the weasels pull a string, and bricks fall and drop on Roger's head.
Oh.
And they tie up Roger and the lovebirds. They tie him and Jessica up, and they pull him up on a crane. And then Jessica's like, you are magnificent, Roger. Oh, my God, darling, I love you more than any woman could ever love a rabbit. And he's like, oh, sweetie, thank you. And then right then, Doom looks over, and he looks at Valiant, right? And the weasels put a gun on Valiant, and he's about to, and then right then, you see Doom like go to hit one of the acid buttons, and he slips and he falls.
Okay.
And the weasels start laughing, okay? And he says, stop laughing before you laugh yourself to death. And then Valiant looks at him because the weasels are laughing so hard.
Mm-hmm.
And then he thinks, and he smiles. And he goes and he cuts on the merry-go-round music, like and he starts singing. Well, I ain't no tune, but I can be pretty goofy. And he starts like doing like crazy tune shit.
Yeah.
And the weasels keep laughing.
Yeah.
And they're laughing, and Roger's like, that's it! You're doing it, Eddie! And he's like, no, this ain't my line, but I'm running out of time. And he hits himself a bunch with like a frying pan, and the weasels start laughing so hard that they start dying.
They like literally die?
Yeah, you see like their ghosts go up. He's like, Eddie, you're doing it! You're killing him! You're killing him, Eddie! So right then he like kicks the weasel into some acid. Mm-hmm. The others keep dying from laughing. And then one of them, accidentally, as they die from laughing, cuts on the machine, so it starts spraying acid.
No!
And it looks like it's about to hit Jessica, and they're like, Eddie, hurry, it's coming at us! So Eddie gets it, and he stops it just in time. But then Doom knocks him off the machine and cuts it back on. And so they start fighting, and they're fighting, and then him and Eddie are getting to it. And then Doom grabs, you know those street things that, like, keep the ground flat?
Oh, yeah, like a steamroller.
Yeah, steamroller.
Yeah.
You know, he gets in one of them, right? And he cuts it on and he points it right at Eddie. Okay?
Is it an animated steamroller or a real steamroller?
It's a real one.
Okay.
And Eddie's like stuck, and he looks what's next to him to get out because the thing's coming at him, and he sees there's a carton of portable holes. So he opens the box up and he like opens up a hole and drops it, and he like goes through it.
Yeah.
And like comes out on the other side and like knocks Doom off the machine. And then Doom lands some glue, and it gets stuck to the flattening machine, and he can't get away from it.
Uh-huh.
And then it flattens over him.
Whoa.
And he's like, ah, ah! Flattens all the way through him, right?
Whoa.
Flattens him. And then right then Roger and Jessica go, hey, look! And you see a flat thing stand up.
What do
And
you
he's like, and it's Doom. And he's like, surprise! Right? And they're like, holy smokes, he's a toon!
He's a toon?
He's a toon.
But he doesn't look like a toon. He's Doc Brown.
Yeah, I know, he's got on fake stuff.
Yo, so when he comes up, does he look like himself?
He's flat.
Okay.
So you can't see it. He's like a flat surface.
Yeah.
And so he sucks on an air thing, and it blows him back up. And when it blows him back up, he looks like himself, but his eyes pop out, and he has huge glowing red eyes. And a squeaky, crazy high voice.
No! That's the guy who killed his brother.
He dropped a goddamn piano on his head. This movie, I told you, bro, this movie's fucking crazy. Remember me, Eddie? Remember when I killed your brother? And Eddie tries to run away, and he stopped, and Doom stops him, and he cuts the action machine back on, right? And he makes his hand into a saw, and he keeps bringing it towards Eddie, trying to kill him. Because now he's got like a tune saw for a hand. And then Eddie dodges it, and he grabs a tune hammer, and he throws it at him, and he hits him right in the head. And when he hits him, it like knocks him back and into the acid.
Okay.
And so then Doom gets sprayed with all the acid, and he's like, I'm melting. I'm melting. And you see his red eyes melt away.
Whoa.
On some Terminator 2 shit. And he dies. Now the ground is completely covered in this stuff, and Roger and Jessica are like, Eddie, you got to let us down, please. And so he cuts all the water hoses on, and it sprays all the acid away, and then he lowers them down, and they're like, Jeepers, Eddie, I thought our goose was cooked. And then Jessica kisses Roger, and she's like, oh, honey, you are a pillar of strength. And then right then all the cops show up, and they found out Doom is the one who's been killing all these people and setting all this up. Okay, and they're like, wow, that was one seriously disturbed tune. And then all the tunes run in, and it's like every famous cartoon you've ever seen ever in the history of cartoons. And they're all screaming about the will. What about the will? What about the will? And they look in Roger's pocket, and they find the love note that he wrote to Jessica. And Roger says how he found this piece of paper in Acme's building.
Yeah.
When he went back to go kill him that night, and he thought about it, and he just wrote a love note instead. And then Eddie thinks about it, and he's like, disappearing, reappearing ink. And then he holds it up, and he wrote the will in disappearing ink.
Very.
Because he had told Eddie about the disappearing ink earlier.
Interesting.
And so he's looking at it, and they all celebrate. Oh, the will, the will. And then he goes, thanks, Eddie. And he shakes his hand, and he has like a buzzer on his hand. And it does that to Eddie. And he's all pissed, and all the tunes look all scared. He's like, oh, come on, Eddie. Don't tell me you lost your sense of humor already. And Eddie grabs him and kisses him on the lips. And everybody laughs and goes crazy. And Jessica's like, come on, Roger, I'll bake you a carrot cake. And he's like, ooh, wee. And they go off. And then you hear all the tunes singing, smile, darkness, smile. And they're all walking into Toontown, and everybody's holding hands. And then you see a pig look at everybody, and he's like, well, that's all, folks. And he turns, and he's like, I like that. well, that's all, folks. Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Whoa. That was great.
Crazy movie, huh?
Oh, that makes me so happy.
It's such a fucking mind fuck. I love, though, the old Hollywood thing.
Yeah, I like that element.
I genuinely love the old Hollywood element. And rewatching this movie now that I'm older, because I always liked it, but I didn't know. I just liked it because there was cartoons in it. Now that I'm older, I like it for such a different set of reasons.
What, you mean like that it's made for adults?
It's made for adults. I like it more because now it's like, oh, I'm the demographic. And I like it more because of the old Hollywood vibe and this like Who Framed Somebody vibe, like this, you know what I mean? Like it this old detective kind of movie, like that's what it's kind of making fun of, and it's like, oh, this is a great idea,
like the noir kind of,
this noir kind of thing. Though I do get how Eddie Murphy reads this and goes, fucking no.
Well, also at 88, he's in
the prime of his prime.
Yeah, he's not ready to do that kind of thing yet.
Well, I mean, he would have. I mean, this would have been all. He didn't. He.
I mean, like,
you don't know how big this movie's gonna be.
When I mean ready, I mean like he wants to do more. Like, I don't know. This doesn't seem like it's a kids movie. Yeah, even though it wasn't. Yeah, that's true.
And he would have been great in it. And it was. I mean, also you think it's gonna be a bust. You're like,
yeah.
He was like, I wouldn't be in some movie with cartoons. Get the fuck out of here. Like, that's stupid.
But it's Disney. It's like they don't really miss.
Yeah.
I think I could name on one hand like the least popular Disney movies, and they're still like good movies.
But Zemeckis, to his credit, the director, you're looking at it, he hadn't done Forrest Gump yet.
True. What else had he done at that point? Or is this his first movie?
Let's see. Was this Zemeckis? Robert Zemeckis' first feature film.
Robert Zemeckis. I like the Z.
Right?
It's a fun name.
Let's see.
I wonder also where it's supposed to be, like, primarily taking place. Because all the studios back then, weren't they all in Culver City more?
Yeah. I mean, this is definitely that part of town for sure.
Yeah.
You know? Like, for sure. All right, let's see. His first thing was a short called The Lift in 1972. Wow. His first big thing was Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Wow.
No, Back to the Future. I'm an idiot.
Oh, Back to the Future. That's why Doc Brown did it.
That's why Doc Brown did it. So, wow. Okay, never mind. So that way this guy's already done hit movies. But if you're Eddie Murphy, you're like, maybe Back to the Future wasn't your jazz. And you're like, I'm not into that kind of comedy.
Yeah.
He said it was his biggest regret not doing it. So that means looking back, he was like, oh, fuck, I wish I would have done that.
He'd be really good in it.
He'd have been really good in it, and the movie was huge, and it would fit him perfectly.
Can you show me the guy that played the Eddie?
Oh, the guy that plays Eddie? Let's see. Wow, then he does part 2, part 3, then Forrest Gump, then Castaway, then Polar Express, then Flight. Wow. And then he's got Pinocchio coming out.
Oh, yeah, that's supposed to be good.
Dude, Zemeckis is a bad boy.
He a bad
boy. Bob Haskins.
Bob Haskins. Who are you?
This guy.
Oh, I remember this guy.
Yeah, he's been in lots of shit.
He's a totally different person than Eddie Murphy.
Yeah, it's funny that Eddie Murphy was their first choice, clearly, because also I get it too, because Eddie in 1988, he's on top of the world.
He's on top of the world.
So you just ask for him just cause.
Yeah. That's
and
interesting.
Then I saw this thing that said who was the most famous person in the 80s, and it said Michael Jackson. And that's fair, but Eddie would have to be number 2, right?
He'd be up there. I mean, obviously Michael Jackson, because Michael Jackson might be the most famous person for like the last half of that century.
And this one. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Even though Eddie might be the second most famous person of all time. On some real shit.
That's possible.
I mean, that's why I always think about that Chris Rock, that joke where he says, this is how famous Eddie Murphy is. I seen a picture in Eddie's house of Eddie and Barack Obama meeting for the first time, and Barack is the one like this. Like, big smile and, like, can't believe it, and Eddie's like the one that's like, hi.
Hi.
You know?
But also, I mean, like, Eddie Murphy must be, like, what, 15, 20 years older than Barack? Or is Barack just that good looking?
No, they're the same age.
Really? Because in my mind...
How old do you think Barack was when he became president?
I don't know.
20?
He just looks good. How old is Eddie Murphy, though?
The same. They're both in their 50s.
Oh, I would thought Eddie Murphy was older. I thought he would be like...
Because he's rare in that when he became the most famous man on the planet, he was 19 years old.
Yeah, I guess in my mind he was like 60, 65. But
Who, Eddie?
Yeah.
No, Eddie can't be. He's got to be that. Got to be in his 50s. Probably in his 50s.
Mm-hmm.
But that makes sense that Barack would see, because in 1980, who the fuck is Barack Obama? And Eddie Murphy's already Eddie Murphy, like cemented Eddie Murphy, one of the most famous people on planet Earth. And this is the beginning of the 80s. Then he carries that through the 80s, and then in the 90s he gets even more famous. Yeah, because he starts doing family movies.
Yeah, that's true.
So this would have been just the start of Eddie Murphy's family movie career.
But
probably.
Then so what's the first family movie he ends up doing?
I think Dr. Dolittle.
And that was like 95, 97, somewhere in there. So I get why he wouldn't have wanted to do a family movie back in 88.
He was still doing his other stuff.
You're still also young. You're like not thinking about wanting to do
late 20s.
It's not like cool to do family movies yet.
Yeah. That's something I guess I get. Yeah, I'll worry about that when I'm 36, 37.
Yeah. I'll worry about that when I have kids and I want my kids to watch my show.
To watch my shit.
I think that's the only reason people do family movies. They're like, I don't want my kids to see me in this thing. So
I know. I've heard Johnny Depp say the only movie that of himself that he's ever seen is the Pirates of the Caribbean movies.
Because his kids watch it.
His kids watch them, and he was like, he said, I watched them, and he was like, I watched them, and they're good movies.
I thought you were gonna say he was like, I watched it. I'm good.
No, I just like the idea of like him watching it, being like, damn, it's a good ass movie.
It's like a movie.
I get why people want these. These are good. But
They are good movies.
If you're in it, you don't know. I mean, you know that you're like, oh, this feels good and all those things, but you don't. Also, it's not like you're doing the scenes in order of how the movie's going.
Yeah.
You might do the last scene first, and then all the middle, and then the beginning at the like.
I definitely wouldn't want to watch a movie I'm in.
No.
I mean, like maybe once at the premiere if I have, because you have to be there. But
that
other than
sucks
that
you have to be there. Or do they have? Because I know I have to be there, but can I leave?
Yeah,
once
I don't think they necessarily have to stay for the movie. But also, like, just the feeling of everyone's watching you and you're seeing yourself for the first time, like in full.
Yeah,
that'd be awful. Because it's not like you're up there performing and you're in the moment. You're like critiquing yourself, you know.
Because even if the movie's great, you don't get to, while you're watching it, you don't get to be in it like everyone else, or like when you watch a movie with other people in it.
Also, even if you like your acting, there's probably like, I look fat that day, or like things like that.
Oh man, look at me! Like, why'd they do my makeup like that?
Yeah.
Or like the lighting's bad on this shot, or like all kinds of shit you're thinking that's not just oh shit Django or whatever the fuck. That's even more crazy to me that you can be like in a movie that you know is good. Everyone says it's great. It's like clearly great, Oscar great, all the things. But you're watching it going, ugh. Like, oh fuck, yeah, my cheeks look so fat.
Your cheeks look fat. I like look like I have. Why am I walking like that?
What'd you I like that fucking cartoon laugh I just did. Hey, what'd you think of the movie?
I loved it.
Sexy Buns.
That was great. I thoroughly enjoyed that.
Roger Rabbit's pretty cool.
I did ask for something fun.
You asked me, you're like, hey, can we do something fun? And I gave you something fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was good.
That was a good time.
You delivered.
Hope you guys enjoyed. All our new listeners that are here. Also, thank you guys so much for growing the pod, man. Even the last couple of weeks, the numbers have grown, like literally doubled from what we used to get. So it's like, holy shit, man. Thank you guys. Appreciate y'all. To all the new people from the Fight of the Kid, what the fuck is up, you bitch ass niggas? That's how we talk to our listeners. You bitch made pussy ass motherfucker. Thanks for listening. I'll kick your ass when I see you. Love you.